Let's talk about one of the most heartwarming and surprising storylines of the NFL season. A return that nobody was counting on, but everybody deep down hoped for. The kind of moment that only a franchise like the Philadelphia Eagles, built on tradition, grit, and emotion, can truly deliver. Brandon Graham is back. Yes, you heard that right. The longest tenured player in the history of the Eagles franchise, a two-time Super Bowl champion, team captain, and fan favorite, is finalizing his return to the team he's called home for more than a decade and a half. This is a story that had been bubbling under the surface for a while, and over the last few days, it erupted. We started hearing rumblings earlier this week. Names like John Clark, Ian Rappaport, Jay Glazer, all dropping hints. The whispers turned into full-on reports, and then Adam Schefter confirmed what Eagles fans have been dreaming about. Brandon Graham is coming back, and he might even suit up as early as Sunday, Week 8, against the New York Giants. For a guy who has given so much to this team, to this city, to the game of football, the opportunity to lace up those cleats again is poetic. Now, let's be clear about one thing. We're not talking about some nostalgic farewell tour here. This isn't just a feel-good locker room boost. Brandon Graham might be 37 years old, but he can still play. Last season, he was producing at a high level, racking up pressures, playing physical, being smart in his gap assignments, and doing what he's always done best, leading by example. And don't forget, this is the same guy who tore his triceps last year, battled back, made it onto the field for the Super Bowl, and still gave his all despite being far from 100%. That's hard. That's who Brandon Graham is. You look at his resume, and it's staggering. Drafted back in 2010 out of Michigan. At the time, he was seen as a gamble. And let's not forget, a lot of people were roasting the Eagles for taking him over Earl Thomas. And for a while, it looked like maybe they had a point. Earl Thomas was out there making Pro Bowls, anchoring the Legion of Boom, winning a ring with Seattle. Meanwhile, Graham was struggling with injuries, slow production, and heavy expectations. But here's what makes this story so special. Brandon Graham didn't fold. He didn't disappear. He didn't fade away like so many first-round busts do. He fought. He evolved. He adapted. And eventually, he became everything this organization needed and more. Fast forward to now, and the tables have completely turned. Earl Thomas is long gone from the league. His career tainted by off-the-field issues. Brandon Graham? He's still here. He's surpassed expectations, shattered records, and cemented himself as a true legend. He's third in franchise history in sacks, only behind Reggie White and Trent Cole. Number one all-time in games played as a Philadelphia Eagle. And most importantly, a two-time Super Bowl winner. Not just a guy who rode the coattails of a great team, but someone who contributed at the highest level when it mattered the most. He's etched into the very fabric of this franchise. And let's talk about that locker room presence. That voice, that energy, that smile. Ask anyone who's been around this team over the years. Brandon Graham is the guy who lifts everyone. Whether it's the defensive line room, the film sessions, the sidelines, or post-game celebrations, BG is that spark. He's the glue. He's the veteran presence that every contender needs. And it's not just sentiment talking here. The Eagles' defense needs help badly. The pass rush is near the bottom of the league, sitting at 28th in total sacks. That's not what you expect from a team with championship aspirations. When your edge rushers are underproducing, when young guys aren't stepping up, when injuries start piling up, that's when you need a Brandon Graham in the building. And apparently, the Eagles knew that. Even before they signed Zadarius Smith, reports came out that they had reached out to BG. They needed someone to stabilize that defensive end rotation. The loss of Josh Uche and Milton Williams left a hole. They needed a player who knows the system, who knows what it takes to win in Philly, and who could step in immediately without skipping a beat. And guess what? BG never cleaned out his locker at the NovaCare complex. Jalen Hurts even mentioned it. His locker will be ready. That's not just logistics. That's legacy. That's respect. It's also about unfinished business. When Graham retired, it didn't feel like a storybook ending. Yes, he walked away with 2 Super Bowl rings. Yes, he did it with a Lombardi trophy on each side of him. Yes, it was a flex. But you could tell there was something unsettled. He wasn't done. He wasn't cooked. And maybe the Eagles' front office gave him a little push toward retirement, thinking they were making room for younger blood. But as the months went on, and as the defensive line started to look thin, that door cracked open just enough for BG to step back through. And look, we all know Father Time is undefeated. Brandon Graham is not going to be on the field for 50 snaps a game. That's not the plan. But if you can get him out there for 15 to 20 plays, he's going to make an impact. He knows how to set the edge, he can stop the run, and he can still get after the quarterback in key moments. That situational pass rushing, that's where he can thrive. Plus, he's fresh. He didn't go through training camp, didn't put all those miles on his body over the last few months. That matters. That gives him a little burst, a little something extra to give. And think about what that does for the young guys. When you're a rookie or second-year player trying to figure out what it means to be a pro, to prepare the right way, to fight through adversity, who better to learn from than BG? This man is the blueprint. He's seen it all. He's done all. And he's done it the right way. If you're trying to build a championship culture, this is the guy you want in the room. We've seen it time and time again. Veterans coming back for one last ride, trying to chase that final moment, only to see their skills fade and their legacy take a hit. But with Brandon Graham, this doesn't feel like that. This feels different. He's not chasing anything. He's already got it all. This is about finishing the story on his terms. This is about giving everything he has left to the team and the fan base that stood by him through thick and thin. And let's be real here. Brandon Graham is still a very capable player. According to Pro Football Focus, his grades last year were all in the green. A run defense grade of over 80, pass rush grade close to 72, and over 20 total pressures in just 168 pass rush snaps. That's real production. Those are numbers that plenty of younger defensive ends would love to post. And in the Super Bowl, even with a bad triceps, he still managed to pressure Mahomes. That doesn't just disappear overnight. Now, does this fix everything for the Eagles' defense? No, it doesn't. More moves might be coming. Maybe a trade. Maybe Nolan Smith comes back from IR and steps up. But having Brandon Graham back in a mix gives the team a shot of energy and stability they desperately needed. It's the kind of move that doesn't just change a stat sheet. It changes the entire tone of a locker room. It sends a message. We're still all in. We're still swinging. And we're doing it with one of our own. There's something poetic about seeing Brandon Graham back where he belongs. This isn't just a football story. It's a Philadelphia story. It's about loyalty, perseverance, second chances, and legacy. We've seen the game chew players up and spit them out, especially those who've been around as long as BG. But in this case, it's different. The Eagles are not only welcoming him back, they're doing it in a moment where his presence could make a real impact. Not just sentimentally, but strategically. Let's talk about where the Eagles currently stand. This is a team that still has Super Bowl aspirations. They've had their ups and downs this season, and the defense, while showing flashes of dominance, has lacked consistency, especially up front. The identity of this team has always been built in the trenches. From the Andy Reid era through Doug Peterson and now with Nick Sirianni, this team has been at its best when the defensive line is dictating the game. But this season, that edge has been missing. The pressure hasn't been consistent. The sacks aren't coming in bunches, and it's clear they're searching for answers. And here's where Brandon Graham fits in perfectly. He knows the system. He understands what defensive coordinator Vic Fangio wants. He's played in variations of this scheme, and his football IQ is off the charts. This isn't a player you have to bring along slowly or spoon-feed reps. He can jump in, know his assignments, and contribute right away. Even more than that, he can coach up guys in the room. He can help younger edge rushers diagnose formations, read protections, and anticipate plays. That's a level of impact you don't see on a stat sheet, but it wins games in December and January. We also have to acknowledge that the Eagles, for all their strengths, are not a complete team right now. They've dealt with injuries. They've had to shuffle their defensive front. Young guys like Patrick Johnson and Zach Bond have been asked to step into bigger roles. And while they've had their moments, you need more than that if you want to make a deep playoff run. The edge rotation has lacked depth, lacked bite. Graham, even in a limited role, gives them some of that lost juice. And again, it's not just on game day. His voice in practice, in meetings, in film sessions, it's invaluable. And fans know. Philadelphia fans are some of the most passionate, knowledgeable, and honest in the league. They'll boo you if you're not performing, but they'll also lift you up if you give them your heart. And Brandon Graham has done that every step of the way. From the early years of frustration to the game-sealing strip sack in Super Bowl 52 to mentoring the next generation, he's been a constant. No shortcuts, no ego, just work, dedication, and love for the city. That's why his jersey, number 55, still flies high in the stands. That's why when rumors started swirling about a possible comeback, fans didn't hesitate. They wanted him back. And let's not ignore the emotional weight of this return. This is a team that said goodbye to some core pieces over the last year. Jason Kelce retired. Fletcher Cox walked away. 2 franchise pillars. And that left a bit of a leadership void, especially on the defensive side. Jalen Hurts is undoubtedly the face of the franchise now, but on defense, there was room for a familiar voice to step back in. Graham offers that bridge between eras. He connects the current squad to the Super Bowl 52 team. He carries the DNA of a championship team and knows what it takes to win, in the locker room, in the huddle, and in the clutch. Now, it's fair to question how much football BG truly is left in him. He's 37. He's coming off multiple injuries. He hasn't played a snap of regular season football this year. But this return isn't about giving him the bulk of the reps. It's about picking the right spots, maximizing his impact, and letting his knowledge and experience elevate everyone around him. Think about how teams have used veterans like Terrell Suggs, Dwight Freeney, or even Chris Long late in their careers. Strategic snaps, high-leverage situations, and leadership behind the scenes. That's the blueprint. And Graham fits it to perfection. Another underrated angle here is the chemistry. Brandon Graham is beloved in that locker room. And chemistry matters more than most people realize. When things start to unravel in a season, maybe it's a tough loss, a bad call, or a mid-season slump, it's the veterans who pull everyone back together. It's the guys with scars and stories who remind the team what they're fighting for. And BG is that guy. You can't manufacture that kind of credibility. You either have it or you don't. He has it in spades. It's also refreshing in today's NFL, where movement is constant, to see a player and a team stay loyal to each other. 15 years in one place. That's unheard of. Most guys don't even get 15 years in the league, let alone with one team. And yet, here we are, Brandon Graham, still wearing midnight green, still making his mark. It's rare, it's meaningful, and it says a lot about the culture that Philadelphia has built. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most talked about moves of the season, whispers around the league have solidified into a startling rumor. The Philadelphia Eagles are reportedly closing in on a deal to bring in quarterback Deshaun Watson, following a confirmed trade with the Cleveland Browns. While official statements remain scarce, sources close to the situation suggest that the Eagles' front office has been aggressively pursuing Watson as part of a bold strategy to reshape their offensive identity. The chatter began late last week when anonymous insiders hinted that Philadelphia was exploring a blockbuster trade. According to league murmurs, the Browns have been willing to listen to offers, opening the door for a high-profile quarterback swap. What makes this development especially intriguing is the timing. The Eagles, coming off a season of near misses, are rumored to be seeking a dynamic playmaker capable of elevating their offense to championship contention. Watson, with his mobility and strong arm, fits the bill perfectly, though questions about consistency and off-field concerns continue to swirl among skeptics. Fans have taken to social media, speculating on the potential impact of Watson in green and white. Some envision electrifying deep passes connecting with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, while others worry about the chemistry with an offensive line that has struggled at times under pressure. Meanwhile, insiders report that negotiations have been intense but positive, with both sides eager to finalize details before the league calendar moves into critical windows for free agency and draft planning. Philadelphia's front office has reportedly pitched this move as part of a long-term vision. Watson, if confirmed, would immediately become the focal point of the Eagles' offense. But sources suggest the team is also preparing for the ripple effects, from cap implications to locker room dynamics. Cleveland, on the other hand, seems poised to benefit from new assets in return, possibly reshaping their roster in ways that could surprise the league. While nothing is officially inked, the rumor has already generated a buzz that shows no signs of fading. For Eagles fans, it's a tantalizing hint at a new era. For football purists, it's yet another example of how the NFL's quarterback carousel never sleeps. If the whispers hold true, the league could be looking at one of the most talked-about quarterback moves in recent memory, and all eyes will be on Philadelphia to see if the gamble pays off. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.